Hello everyone. Today we're having a comic book review. It's about Dylan Dog, The Long Goodbye. In case you're not aware who Dylan Dog is, he is a very popular Italian horror comic book character. His comics sell incredibly well. It was created by Tiziano Sclavi, a writer for Bonelli Editions. That's one of the biggest comic book publishers in Italy. To get an idea how popular this comic is, back in 2014, an issue of Dylan Dog would sell 140,000 copies. That's about as much Batman sold in the USA and Canada at the same era. So yes, it's a very popular comic book character. However, he's not very well known in the US because there's only been a movie that was not that well, and about 7 or 8 issues of Dylan Dog published through Dark Horse Comics that I think they were not that well received. However, it's a great comic book, and we have new translations in English by Epicenter. As you can see, that's The Long Goodbye. It's one of the 5 books they have of Dylan Dog right now. It comes with this poster of the cover, which is a great poster. Yeah, let's see. The Long Goodbye is a Dylan Dog issue from the 90s, I believe. It's number 74. Dylan Dog 74. This is 74 because the Italian issues of Bonelli are very big. They're very long. They're 100 pages long. I think that's the original cover. They're 100 pages long black and white comic books that come out every month. Don't ask how they do it. They use multiple artists. That's some more covers of the collected editions. It's one of the more popular Dylan Dog stories. It's a fan favorite because it's not quite the typical Dylan Dog story. I'm not sure it's the one you should start with. The story goes as follows: we have a girl coming to Dylan's office. Dylan is an ultimate investigator. He's sort of a detective, called detective, but he's always getting into some weird adventures. And that guy over here is Groucho, known in the US version as Felix. And Groucho is, at least in the Italian version, is Groucho Marx impersonator that makes lots of silly jokes. In the US version, due to copyright laws, they changed him into this version. So this girl comes to Dylan's office, and they kind of know each other. She used to be his teenage heartthrob. Back when he was a teenager, Dylan went on a vacation on his own, and he met Marina, and he has forgotten about her. So the whole point of this, the whole issue alternates between the present and the past. They're teenagers over here, and both of them go on a trip down the memory lane, and that's a literal memory lane. So we have this flash forward, flash back. We have some weird stuff happening. As with most Dylan Dog comics, we have many callbacks to other horror movies. He lives in Craven Street, for instance, because of Nightmare on Elm Street by Wes Craven. And here, for instance, we have where is it? We're having this scene that's a callback to with the car on the night on the bicycle and all that, and it's a callback to In the Mouth of Madness, and that's a very typical Dylan Dog style horror. You have absurdity coming in. We have a lot of surrealism, weird stuff happening. It's how Tiziano Sclavi writes his horror, and it's part of the Italian horror tradition of directors like Mario Bava, Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci. Um, Tiziano Sclavi, sorry, is very Italian in his horror style, even though that's not exactly a horror comics. There are some parts that are spine tingling, but it's more of a sentimental story. It's more about the emotions. We have the forward and backwards. We have this amazing scene with a train where the past characters see their future selves at the same time, um, and won't show anymore. Those pages are shown for review purposes only. As epicenter comics is, you can show some pages for review purposes, and that's a review, and I won't show anymore. But really, it's a great comic book because it blends the paranormal part with a lot of emotional teenage first love stuff, and there is a great ending to it, which I won't show. It's definitely a comic you should read if you're into horror. It's not horror, it's gruesome horror stuff, um, like some other Dylan Dog stories are. It's much more emotional though. It's different from what most Dylan Dog fans would expect from this comic, but at the same time, it's a very fun comic to read, and definitely recommend. I really liked it. It's great. It had me shivering parts. It had me moved and feel the blues in others. And I think that when a comic book gives you the feelings that when a comic book manages to give you all those feelings it aims for, yes, it's a must read. So, if you've read this, I would love to hear your comments below. Yes, there was another video about this comic book, but it was very bad, and I removed that from the channel. I hope this one is better, even though I cannot get the focus of the camera. But never mind that. I'll be back to you with other comic books reviews very soon. Have fun.